Have you ever wondered, why did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most perfect and guided human to ever walk this earth, never sleep on his stomach? Why did he stop others from doing so? Was it just a preference? This simple habit, this small action, and when the Sunnah is forgotten, we lose the blessings that come with it. This is more than just about sleep. It's about reviving a practice of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a practice that Allah dislikes when it's ignored. And today, inshallah, we will uncover the truth, the wisdom, and the reward behind one of the most overlooked sunnahs in our daily lives. So don't go anywhere. What you learn in the next few minutes might completely transform how you go to sleep every single night. Some say it helps them relax. Some say they've done it since childhood. But let's ask ourselves honestly, if the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam clearly discouraged it, then how can something so comfortable be okay for our bodies, our faith, or our souls? This isn't just a bedtime habit. This is about our connection to the guidance of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that means every little detail matters. Let's now look at a direct hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Indeed, this is a manner of lying down that Allah does not like. Sunan Abu Dawud 5040. Let that sink in for a moment. Not just the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam disapproved, but Allah himself does not like this position. These words should shake our hearts. In a world where so many things distract us from the Sunnah, Ya Allah, I heard your messenger, and I obeyed, even if it's difficult, because when you love someone, you try to follow them in everything, even in how you sleep. Let's take a closer look at how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to sleep. According to many authentic narrations, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would sleep on his right side, place his right hand under his cheek, recite a beautiful dua before closing his eyes. He would say, Allahumma bismika amutu wa ahya. O Allah, in your name I die and I live. Bukhari, this wasn't just a physical act. It was an act of ibadah, of worship. Or is there something much deeper? Might seem unimportant to some. But in reality, it hides within it a sunnah that we've almost completely forgotten. For many people today, sleeping on the stomach feels normal. If you saw someone sleeping this way and told them not to, one day the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came across a man lying on his stomach. Without hesitation he said, this is one of those golden moments where we can say, even if it's uncomfortable, even sleep in Islam can bring reward, if done with the right intention and in the right way. And this is why the sunnah of sleep is so precious. It turns a daily habit into a source of reward. Now you may be wondering, why exactly is sleeping on the stomach discouraged? What harm could it possibly do? Well, science is finally beginning to catch up with what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught over 1400 years ago. Modern research shows that sleeping on the stomach can lead to neck and back pain due to unnatural spinal alignment, breathing difficulties as the lungs are compressed, stress on the heart and stomach, causing long-term discomfort, and increased risk of digestive problems and even nerve compression. Subhanallah. Who could have known all of this back then? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't need scientific studies. He was guided by wahi, divine revelation from Allah. And this is why we trust the sunnah. Because even when we don't fully understand, we know that behind every sunnah is mercy, wisdom, and protection. Sleeping on your stomach might seem like a physical issue, but in reality, there's a spiritual lesson hidden here. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned that this position is one disliked by Allah. Why? Some scholars say it's because this position resembles the way the people of hell are described as lying. Others say it reflects arrogance or heedlessness, as it's a posture that removes one's awareness of their surroundings, and Allah knows best. But what we do know is this: when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam guides us away from something, it is never without reason. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said, whoever revives a sunnah from my sunnah that was forgotten after me will have the reward of those who act upon it. Tirmidhi, 7. Think about this. Right now, just by changing how you sleep, just by sharing this video, just by telling your family, your children, your friends, you could be reviving a sunnah. And that means every single person who follows it because of you, you get a copy of their reward. This is how the sunnah spreads, not just in books, not just in lectures, but in small personal daily habits. The companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam were not people who just listened to advice. They acted on it immediately. When they heard a single hadith, they took it to heart. So when they learned that sleeping on the stomach was something Allah disliked, they stayed away from it. They didn't say, "Oh, but it feels comfortable. Oh, but I've done it for years." They said, "If this displeases Allah, then I leave it." Can we be like them? Can we let go of our own habits for the love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Maybe you've slept on your stomach for years. Maybe you even feel discomfort when you sleep on your side, and that's understandable. But let's look at this from a different angle. Every time you adjust your position for the sake of Allah, every time you remember the Sunnah before falling asleep, you're not just making a change, you're making an intention. And intentions in Islam are powerful. Even if you struggle, even if you wake up and find yourself in the wrong position, but you intended to follow the Sunnah and sleep like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah will reward you, because it's the effort and sincerity that counts. Imagine this. Your child asks you one night, "Mama, Baba, why do we sleep on our right side?" And you reply, "Because this is how the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to sleep." That moment, right there, is a teaching of love, faith, and legacy. You're not just putting your child to bed. You're giving them a piece of the Sunnah. You're lighting a flame that can stay with them for the rest of their lives. And maybe, just maybe, they'll pass it on to their own children one day. This is how the Sunnah lives on, not through big speeches, but through small, loving actions, night after night. In Islam, no act is too small. Even smiling at your brother is a charity. Even removing a thorn from the road is an act of faith. So what about changing the way you sleep, just to please Allah? That simple act, that one decision, could be the reason Allah puts barakah in your health, peace in your heart, and light in your grave. Because when you sleep the Sunnah way, you're not just resting your body. You're aligning your soul with the path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there is no sleep more peaceful than that. As the sun sets and the world begins to quiet down, we prepare to sleep. But do we pause? Do we reflect on how we are ending our day? Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that sleep is a minor death. He said, "Sleep is the brother of death." And every time we sleep, our soul is taken and only returned by the permission of Allah. So why wouldn't we take this moment seriously? Why wouldn't we want to follow the best of creation in this delicate, intimate moment with Allah? When you lie down the Sunnah way, you're saying with your body, "Ya Allah, I am yours." Shaitan does not want you to follow the Sunnah. He wants you to sleep carelessly, to neglect the beautiful habits of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to say, "It's just sleep, it doesn't matter." But every time you obey the Sunnah, you defeat Shaitan, even in your sleep. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught that when a person sleeps on their side and remembers Allah, an angel stays by them throughout the night. And when a person sleeps on their stomach, a position disliked by Allah, they lose this precious company. So the question is, who do you want beside you while you sleep? An angel recording your remembrance? Or Shaitan feeding you heedlessness? Let me share a story. There was a young man who always slept on his stomach. He grew up this way and never gave it much thought. But one day he came across this hadith. Indeed, this is a manner of lying down that Allah does not like. He was shocked. He felt sad. But more than that, he felt grateful, because Allah had shown him a chance to correct his path. From that day, he made the intention, no matter how difficult it is, I will sleep the way the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. The first few nights were uncomfortable. He would wake up on his stomach by mistake, but every time he turned back to his right side. And within a week, he said something amazing. "Not only do I sleep better now, I feel closer to Allah." Sometimes a small habit opens the door to a big transformation. Let's go even deeper. The Sunnah of sleep isn't just about how you lie down. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught a complete routine before sleeping. And if we follow it, our sleep becomes an act of worship, protection, and peace. Here's what he taught us to do before sleeping. Make wudu, just like for prayer. Recite Ayat al-Kursi, the greatest verse of the Quran. Recite Surah al-Ikhlas, al-Falaq, and an-Nas, and wipe over your body. Say the dua. Allahumma bismika amutu wa ahya. O Allah, in your name I die and I live. Clean, at peace, protected, connected to Allah. Wouldn't that be the most beautiful sleep? But today we sleep differently. We fall asleep scrolling on our phones, watching TV, thinking about the world, disconnected from our fitrah, disconnected from the Sunnah. This is why our sleep is disturbed, why we wake up tired, Why we feel stress, even after long hours of rest. Because we forgot the Sunnah. But the good news, even tonight, Islam is not just about rituals. It's about guidance in every part of life. And when it comes to sleep, the Prophet ﷺ didn't leave us in the dark. He gave us light. He gave us habits that bring barakah, protection and closeness to Allah. And you'll feel the difference, not just in your body. You're submitting your heart. You might be thinking, I've always slept like this. It's hard to change. And yes, change is hard. But remember, verily, with hardship comes ease. Quran Smurpatnam. Even if you wake up on your stomach again, keep trying, because the effort itself is beloved to Allah. And the angels are writing your intentions, your struggles and your efforts, even when no one else sees. Dear brother, dear sister, this isn't just about you. This is about your home, your children, your family. If they see you sleeping the Sunnah way, if they hear you reciting the Sunnah du'as, they will remember it forever, and they will follow. They learn from examples, and you are their first teacher. Let me ask you something serious. What if tonight was your last night? What if this was the final sleep before your soul is returned to its Lord? Would you not want to fall asleep in a way that pleases Allah? Wouldn't you want your final act to be in the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ, but to awaken the heart? Imagine going to sleep like this every night. It's never too late to return to it. Sleep the sun away, but in your soul. Because you're not just closing your eyes, even if it takes time. Because children don't learn from lectures. This is not meant to scare you. Because a believer always sleeps with awareness and preparation. Not fear, but readiness. And the Sunnah helps us sleep in a state of peace, ready to return to Allah whenever He wills. The Prophet ﷺ said, when a servant lies down on his bed, and he remembers Allah until sleep overtakes him, Allah appoints an angel to protect him. Ahmad, isn't that incredible? The remembrance of Allah brings angels into your home. And the way you lie down matters too, because when you follow the Sunnah of sleep, you're making your room a place of nur, not neglect. You're inviting mercy, not heedlessness. You're surrounding yourself with barakah. We spend so much on comfort. Soft pillows, new mattresses, sleep apps, white noise machines. But we forget the Sunnah, which costs nothing. Sleeping on your right side, reciting a few short du'as, making wudu, avoiding the position Allah dislikes. These are free, but their reward is priceless, because they connect you to the Prophet ﷺ, and anything connected to him is full of light. Scholars mention that sleep is a reminder of death, and just as we lie down every night to rest, one day we will lie down in our grave. So how you sleep matters, because the way you live and the way you sleep prepares you for the akhirah. And when you make sleep an act of Sunnah, when you go to sleep with dhikr, when you avoid the position disliked by Allah, you're preparing your soul to return to Him in the most beautiful state. To the entire ummah, let us not treat the Sunnah like a small thing, because with the Prophet ﷺ, nothing was small. Even his way of sleeping had meaning. So tonight, before you go to bed, remember this hadith. Indeed, this is a manner of lying down that Allah does not like. Say it to your heart. Say it to your family. Say it with love. And say it with the intention to change, because Allah sees your effort, and He will reward you more than you can imagine. So what will you do tonight? Will you return to the comfort of your old habit? Or will you turn to the beautiful path of the Prophet ﷺ? A path of wisdom, a path of light, a path that even reaches into your sleep. Revive the Sunnah. Honor the Messenger ﷺ, and earn the love of Allah even while you sleep. If this message touched your heart, if you learned something new, then don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with your family and friends. Spread this forgotten Sunnah to others, because the Prophet ﷺ said, convey from me, even if it is one verse. Let's not let this Sunnah be forgotten. Let's not let this advice go to waste. Start tonight. Sleep like the Prophet ﷺ, and rest under the shade of Allah's mercy. Allahumma ja'alna min alladhina yahyawna sunana nabiyyika sallallahu alayhi wa sallam fil layli wan nahar. O Allah, make us among those who revive the Sunnah of your Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam day and night. Amen.